In 2016, scientists confirmed the existence of gravity waves and their effect on photons. Basically, the waves can put the photons, which are acting out quantum entanglement, out of phase by slowing one of them down. It takes time for the photon particles to sync back up and re-entangle. It almost seemed as though Sid was in a trance, hypnotized as she spoke each word as calmly as the one before it. Of course, she was merely entranced by her own existence, her own mind. Because our souls act like parts of a hologram, or like particles in quantum entanglement, the gravity waves break their bonds. But only for a short period of time, usually, and then they sync back up. Marty's heart began to beat a little faster. What happened to me is that my memory, from some of the pieces of my whole, are out of phase. Eventually, I'll get them all back. Most likely. She looked at Marty as she said that last part and he nearly stopped breathing. Is she going to remember everything here and now? The thought raced through his mind. Would that even be okay? It's hardly the time and place to be embracing, kissing, finding one another for the first time. I'll have to prepare myself, prepare to be restrained. Because if she remembers. But before Marty's thoughts could get any farther, Sid snapped out of her trance-like state and, without any hesitation, turned to face Robbie and jumped into a new conversation. Kim was trying to figure out why your mom and Ayanna aren't affected by the gravity waves. He thinks if my information is still current that it may have something to do with that Bible of theirs. Robbie remembered the terrorists trying to steal the Bible, trying to teleport it far away, and he remembered how that ordinary-looking book fit perfectly into the crystal case that Agent Beckett had brought into their home. If not the Bible, it may be in their genes, Sid went on. Now, here's the real crazy stuff, if that wasn't enough. A small grin crept onto Sid's lips. The mantis knows how to search for particle patterns through space-time. It knows, if you want to put it that way, that time isn't linear, so it spreads out across the universe like a search engine on the web. Once it finds a match, it tracks it and tries to predict where it will be on its next jump. Both boys stared on in awe, and the simple fact that Portia hadn't interrupted Sid at any point practically spoke for itself. It's like a catcher, placing his kid where he anticipates the pitcher will throw the ball. Pretty crazy, huh, Marty? She spoke directly to him, noticing his wide eyes and unmoving attention. Of course, this threw him off guard, and his eyes grew even wider as he spoke. Who built this thing? You. No way, she said, shaking her head and letting out a little chuckle. This is way out of my league. The truth is we don't know who built it. We brought it back from 2030 when we were there working on Syrah. After they broke the brain code and found out how to fully interface with the brain, you'd better believe that organics built all sorts of things. I don't blame them though. She punctuated her words with a shrug. They were afraid machines would take over if they got too powerful. So all of this is about machines? Robbie asked, unable to stay silent any longer. No. Sid shook her head. All of this is about reality, about spirituality. Let me step back from the future for a moment and tell you three about something that happened in days of old. Sid straightened her posture as she spoke. We know that the Romans brought back masons from Kemet and Egypt to build their churches and cathedrals. And we know the Romans told the masons to keep their ancient knowledge to themselves unless they wanted to die and for their families to be killed. They were forbidden from teaching anyone how to read the hieroglyphs and from sharing the secrets of the Kemet elders. So, in response to such repression, some of the masons went underground. The Illuminati. The words broke out of Robbie's mouth before he had a chance to stop them. Yes, that's right, Sid said, smiling up at him. The real story's not the way we were told it, huh? Robbie slowly nodded, not quite sure what to believe. The knowledge the Masons possessed was very old, ancient Kemet knowledge. We believe that knowledge is the very reason why the Library of Alexandria was burned down. That library housed knowledge that the Romans, Greeks, and Muslims didn't want the world to know, and that's why it's uncertain which conquering group did the actual burning. No different than today, really. Sid let out a little sigh. Disinfo, misinfo, and confusion keep us divided as a people. Many religions came out of Kemet, you know. But Kemet had an understanding of spirituality, not religions. It said that these religions were created to control the masses, not to point towards some greater good. Looking around at the partly vacant, partly confused faces in front of her, Sid explained, I know that what I'm saying sounds disconnected from this terrorist threat, but it's not. These social Darwinistic, Cult-empowered whack jobs are trying to suppress ancient organic knowledge in order to control the world. The New World Order, they say. Well, I say you can't get order out of chaos. The room was silent for a moment, but then Robbie ventured, this ancient Kemet spirituality, what was it? You want to know about their original beliefs? Look up the story of Azar, Ozit, and Hiru, also known as the story of Osiris, Isis, and Hiru, the Holy Trinity of Kemet. She smiled slightly as Robbie nodded, a mixture of passionate interest and paralyzing fear in his eyes. Just then, Sid's phone made a little beeping noise, and she shifted her attention down to its screen. Looks like everything's clear down there, the drone completed its inspection without any hang-ups. We should be good to go. And just how are we supposed to trust you? Portia asked, crossing her arms. Sid maintained steady eye contact with her. On faith. Portia squinted her eyes and pursed her lips. The backup should be here any minute. We should wait until they arrive. Okay, Sid said, reining in her frustration. Okay. Then before we go down the rabbit hole, I just want you all to know that what you will see is a system that was designed in the year 2030. Like I said, we have no idea who built it. We used snapshot teleportation to bring it back to this time, which was simple, really, because it has no organic parts. So brace yourselves if you need to, because these terrorists along with Dr. Kim need to be stopped by any means necessary. Kim has been a member of an elite group of Darwinists for a very long time. The bloodline of the ancients of the biblical serpent from the Garden of Eden has been passed down for eons, and guess what? He's part of that bloodline. You're looking at me like I'm crazy, but some intelligent people in high places believe that reptilians are more than a conspiracy theory. They hold that all royalty in Britain descends from a bloodline that was created by the Anunnaki. Robbie shook his head, almost speechless. No way. That stuff is true. A soft smile crossed Sid's face. As you may already know, there's a theory that the Anunnaki genetically engineered the human race. But rumor has it that's not all they did. According to this rumor, they were here prior to that idyllic garden, they arrived when dinosaurs were still roaming the earth. With care and precision, they picked the smartest dino and used it to engineer a race of people. And do you know what that dino was? No one answered, so Sid continued, the Velociraptor. Those fearsome, nasty beasts stood upright, similar to humans, and they knew how to work in teams. Using this to their advantage, the Anunnaki combined the genes of the raptors with those of a shape-shifting octopus and with their own. What do you get with such a bizarre combination? An intelligent, cooperative reptilian creature that can shape-shift into the form of a human. Portia breathed heavily, but she didn't put a stop to Sid's speech. Still, the obvious skepticism pushed Sid to go on, this is real stuff, not just a rumor. Trust me, I've rubbed shoulders with powerful people who know this is the truth. The ancients simply kept it secret as it passed down from one generation to the next. There are two different bloodlines, she continued, all business even as a hint of excitement entered her voice. The Illuminati and the Organics. To put things into cliché terms, the Organics are the good guys. So Kim's not one of those. He and his friends are part of the New World Order, and as hyper-Darwinists, they believe technology is the sole answer to human existence. What made them go down such a dark path? Robbie interjected. The simple answer is that they've been interbreeding for so long that they've gone mad. What a price to pay to continue the riches of their bloodline. Sid shook her head, and she even seemed a tiny bit sad. Okay, enough of this for now. Like you said, she glanced at Portia, your backup should be here momentarily, and then our adventure can begin.